Hi guys, so today I'm going to be explaining how to improve 2x2 face efficiency. It's really useful for cutting down time in 2x2 because the rest of the solve is just algs, where this is mostly intuitive. So I'd recommend this for people who average, I'd say, maybe under 3 seconds. Alright, so the first thing I'd say it's useful to clear up is that there's 3 different types of faces in 2x2. The one that you'll probably start with is when you learn layer by layer. You learn to solve a whole layer, so this cut around is all in big blocks and the whole layer is solved, this part. The next you learn is maybe e.g. one face, which is where there's one bar that you'd have in a layer and their other 2 pieces are swapped, kind of like a T-perm on the bottom of the cube. The other face is a e.g. 2 face, which is where there are no blocks around the bottom of the cube, so it's basically just a Y-perm to solve. One thing I think it's going to be quite good to do is to cover all of the inserts. So, well, not all, but all of the ones that you will ever find useful. So for this, you have R, U, R prime, the same as inserting this corner on a 3x3. So R, U, R prime. The second is R, U prime, R prime. Now this is how you do it if you wanted to insert an F12 pair on 3x3. The third one is R, U2, R prime, which once again is that for a 3x3. Now I'm going to get a bit into slightly more advanced ones here. So So when you see this corner piece here, this orange, and you need it to be in the layer, now you might do something inefficient like that, or even that, but that's also very inefficient. So what you've got to do here is you see these 2 orange stickers. If you move it up, they join. I also notice if you do U and then R2, they're into the layer. The next one, these are quite a bit more advanced, but you can see this is also the same as the other, where it's just R2 to bring it out, move it over, move it back in. But this is for a different type of face. This is for orange. Now you see you have this corner here, which is a 3-move insert, and this, which is also a 3-move insert, and they're right above their slots. But the thing is, you can't just do that, because then it sets up something terrible for the other corner. So what you can do here is 3 moves to build this whole layer or face. This can be used for faces as well. So R2, F prime, R2. And this is also quite an easy case to one look. I probably shouldn't talk about that in this, but I'm going to. So you see this corner, if you see what an R2 does to it, moves it over here. This sticker, all it's doing is an R2, so it's going from here to here. Yep. And then F prime, we all know what that does to a cube. So you just do an F prime, R2. So this sticker is going from here to here. And this sticker is going from here to here. Because you're doing R2, bringing it in to match this one, and then back up. Now if you have this case, but it's going to end up turning it into an EG2, then what you should do here is, instead of doing, because you've got 3-move insert here, and then 3-move that, instead of doing R2, F prime R2, what you should do is R2, F, R2, and it's very similar to one look as the other case. So I'd recommend that you at least know CLL EG1, because with CLL, you are very kind of fixed with what you can do. There's not a lot of freedom with kind of faces you can build, because you have to build a layer. I mean, good thing to point out was that you absolutely need to be color neutral for any of this to really be worth it. So I found a 5-move face here, CLL layer. So you just need to look at every single color on the cube, because here you might see white and think, oh, no, sorry, not white, yellow, and think, oh, this is very efficient. But then when you look at it, because there's a block here, but then when you look into it, it's really not that good. So this is a very good one to discuss. So this is for CLL layers. So you've got to realise that you really need to, if you're inserting multiple pieces, say diag pieces in a layer, then you need to find either another face to do it, or a way to cancel it. So this is a very good example. You can see I have this piece here which needs to go into green, and also this which needs to go here, because of course we've got the orange here, and this is for CLL. So I'm going to do R'F for here, R'U R2, because you're moving this. Example. So you should know by this speed that if you do R2U R2, then you can bring this piece into the layer when you have in DFR. So R2U R2. So here it's just cancelling into that, because of course you know standard L'U L. That's a standard insert, everyone uses that. But cancelling is really efficient. So follow along with the scrambles I have on the screen here. So you've got there. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is check every colour. If there's a block, I'd recommend picking up on it first, but at least check every single colour. So here is not the best for CLR, because there's not many easy blocks. I mean, you've got UF prime to build here. Orange, there's not really much. We've got that for TCLL, that's not this level. So I wouldn't recommend doing CLR here, because you're very restricted with what you can do. So there's quite a few options actually for this. There's some more inefficient ones, like that, which I wouldn't recommend, because I'd say a list of priorities, depending on if it's equally easy for all cases, go for the EG1 first. If it's a nice alg, then use it. If it's not, then go to CLL. If it's, but have EG2 is your absolute last resort, because the algs for it aren't quite as nice. So here, so there's a 4-move face here on, well actually it's a CLL layer actually, I didn't realise that. So you see here, you've got this corner, and this is the other corner that it pairs with, and you can once again cancel into this kind of thing, the R2U prime R2. Yeah, just to kind of scramble it a bit. So you recognise, because what you'd usually do for this is RU R prime U prime 3 times, but you can just do U to move it out of the way, bring this up to pair with it, U prime to move it back into this line, and bring it back down. So what you can do here is cancel into that again. It's not the nicest to finger trick, but if you find another angle, I'm sure it would be. Yeah. So it's F2 to pair these, and then you've also got to pay attention to this piece and how this will move. It's a bit like, and this will really help when you're learning to one look. So F2, R prime, U prime, R2. It's not a great case, but it's not the worst. So just make sure you check all different types of faces. So that's an okay one, but it's not the nicest for finger tricks on orange. So now we're going to discuss using faces for EG and some examples. So for this case, it's quite clear what to do, but you've also got loads of options on how to insert it. I'll discuss them. So you've got RU prime R prime from this angle, but you've got to think about it. If you're using EG1, this doesn't set you up to it. I know many people might use LEG1 for that, because it's a very easy one. But let's just say you don't. Hypothetically, you don't know that LEG1. So, RU prime R prime. It sets you up for EG1, but it's not the best option. Now you could think, also do it from another angle. But is it nice to finger trick? Not really. Now you've also got U prime R prime FR. That's quite nice, except for the fact that it doesn't set you up for a very nice EG1 case. Now you've also got U prime lefty hedge. That doesn't set you up for the nicest of cases, but it's also not the worst. So I would then at this point I'd recommend looking at other colours. R2U R prime here, not great. It does set you up to a really nice LEG1, but it's not the point. Then you could also look at RU2 R prime, but that also sets you up something quite bad. So in this case, I would recommend doing FU prime F prime U, purely because it's a very nice EG1. Just go over it. RU R prime F prime, RU R prime U prime, RU R prime, and that was used, and that was probably like a 1.4, just using the inserts above that I mentioned before. So for this, again, no, I'm not going to go through this one. Okay, this is an interesting one. Well, interesting for what I'm talking about. So this one is cancelling into this insert. So it's just cancelling into L prime or L prime U prime L. So what you want to, so for orange, and this is also interesting if you use CLL. So what you can do here is, you see this piece solves with just an L prime. L prime puts it in there, and then you can also, and it also cancels into L prime U prime L. And if you do FMC L prime, that's just L prime, that's just an L2. So why not finger trick it like it's an L2? So kind of pinch this corner, and yeah, it doesn't set you up for the nicest of cases. But if you use CLR here, this is also quite interesting. So it's F prime, because that moves this piece to the place of this, and instead of cancelling into L prime U prime L, this time we're going to be cancelling into L prime U L because of the F prime. So F prime solves this piece first rather than solving this one first. So F prime L2, because it's L prime U L, and you see we have a really nice case here. So it's always nice to look at those sort of solutions. And what you've got for this one is another interesting one. Now this one is cancelling into R prime U2 prime R, because you have to look at all these faces as a few moves to cancel into an insert, because that's what they are. So you've got U, except for the R2 F prime R2 cases, because those are an exception to that kind of rule. So you've got U prime to move these over, and you'll see it will solve this piece first. So that, and because you always want to have your EG1 bar in the back, R prime U2 prime R, it's a nice EG1 case. So make sure you look for all options though, because you've also got a cancellation into a EG1 face on this side, although I wouldn't recommend it, because you can cancel into the EG1 also here, as well as cancelling into the layer RU, and then it's just R2. But it's not the nicest to finger trick, because R3 here isn't very nice, and RF, that's two regrips, and regrips are not fun. So yellow is not the best because it's another cancel into RU to R prime, but it's putting the bar on the right, which you don't want it to be. Oh wait, that doesn't even solve it. Ignore all of what I just said. Alright, so it's the final one I'll do. Alright, so it's not the nicest, but that's the whole point. You want to know how to deal with these cases that aren't very nice. So for this one, so just look at all of your options for yellow first. There's a few. So you can do U2 RUR prime, but it doesn't give you the bar in the front, and you get U2 AUF for after the alg. But there is a way that you can execute this. If you've watched Jaden McNeil or George Scully's F wide, I don't know who made it, but I think it's Jay. F wide R F wide prime. It's just doing that to insert a corner for 2x2. So it's you see you've got it here. So it's doing the same as this, just from the side. Make sure you look for all colours. So you've got RU, R prime, U prime, R for orange, not very nice. Green is not great. What have I done? Yeah. So I would recommend in this case doing orange, but check all different types of inserts, because I just found one there that was quite nice and gives me no AUF. Oh wait, hold on. Just check I did the right alg there. Yeah, so for this one, it gave me a really nice alg, and also no AUF, and also it's quite a fast layer. So yeah, that is layers and face efficiency on 2x2. Thanks for watching.